Is that
Wake up late for school, man. You don't want to go. Copyright party. You ask your mom, please, but she still says no. I hope I don't get sued by the Beast.
They can't sue us and we can't sing.
Well, we can sing. We just can't take credit for writing it. We didn't write it. So we're okay.
Exactly. Am I doing the intro or are you doing the intro?
I was waiting on you. I didn't want to step on your toes. That once you get offended.
I'm always offended. You just don't
know.
Welcome to another episode of Who's Your Nerds podcast. We got the two Chris's and Mikey.
Yay! Finally.
I'm on my phone for many reasons because I'm going to be driving to Eaton, Ohio to pick up Kimberly here in a minute, and I'll probably be on my phone driving at the same time.
Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait.
She's in a community band.
Ohio.
Oh, there we go, Kris. Let's go.
What?
He said OH. You gotta say IO. It's rules.
I don't get
it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's Ohio State, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care about the Buckeyes.
I know.
But I care about AJ Hawk, and that's why. AJ Hawk. AJ Hawk.
Oh, no, I can't do a Hawk sound.
Oh. Okay. Anyway, what's in Eaton, Ohio?
She does a community band for Richmond, and for some reason they're playing in Ohio, and we have no idea why. So, yeah, there we go.
How far away is it?
It's about 20, 30 minutes, depending on which way I go. I took 70 when I took her there, and then I took the country roads coming back, and I'll probably take 70 again because the country roads suck.
Yeah.
I like country roads.
Do they take you home?
Yeah, I mean, they take you home. They take me home. And they do. They just take me home.
Well, should we start it off with the draft? Because that was the only thing that really happened the last week.
Oh, well, I mean, that's all up to you. We can talk about draft. I have a Notbuster for y'all, so we can we can do draft.
Let's
start baptized.
with.
I saw that, Mikey. Good for you. That's awesome. Yeah.
I was pretty excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was that after church in wherever she's from? I'm sorry, I forget.
Yeah. We go down there just about every Sunday.
That's cool, though. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's bonus right there.
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious, what denomination is it?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me. Christian. I don't know.
I mean, you got most of it right there.
Well, maybe just non-denominational.
True. That's what I consider myself anymore, non-denominational.
That's what she said. It's non-denominational.
Yeah, I've always been non-denominational.
Yeah.
I mean, I was Catholic for years, but I've pretty much switched lately.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but it's like, I like going to it's not something I don't know. It's just maybe it's not something I look forward to. I don't like I can't wait until Sunday or something. It's not like that, but it's like, okay, let's go do this Sunday. But it's like when I was younger, I kind of went. I was almost forced to, just to tag along.
That turns a lot of kids off.
Yes,
it really does.
Yeah, a little bit. And then when you're sitting there and the preacher or pastor or whatever, he's talking about his message and stuff. It's like you really don't understand it, and
right.
When ever since I've been going to this church at Connection, it's called a Connection Point. It's like just the way there's a couple of pastors. There's just two that I've seen up there, but just the way they kind of, I guess, teach the message or teach the Bible or whatnot. it's just so like relatable and understandable. It's
Right.
easy to understand. I almost think about it as like a school lecture.
Yeah, because well, I mean, he is essentially teaching. That's usually what
Yeah.
but
So,
it's in terms that you can understand,
yeah.
and yeah, it is. I get it. I get it. No, Gina, my ex-wife,
Yeah.
she grew up Jehovah's Witness, so her
Oh.
grandmother would drag her along door knocking on Saturdays
Yeah.
when she wanted to watch cartoons and eat cereal, and she was turned off major by religion, and now she goes all the time. She calls up all the time asking me Bible questions because I was raised in a church, so
Yeah.
I
Growing up
get
Catholic,
Bible questions from her quite a bit, actually. So.
Yeah.
growing up Catholic, you're forced to go to Sunday school every Sunday. You
Yeah,
know,
but Sunday school was fun. I always hung at my friends were in Sunday school.
I had none of my friends. I only had a few friends in Sunday school, and I
You
didn't
have a
really.
few friends now, Kris. I mean,
Well, back then, all I wanted to do was stay at home and play video games.
so was this? Is their church so Catholic? Because I don't know, I'm not Catholic. So is that on Saturday or is that on Sunday?
Sunday.
It is Sunday. Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, there is Saturday service like any other church, probably, but it's mostly a Sunday thing. There's like at least the one I went to. At one point, it was the largest church in Kokomo.
Which one?
St. Joan of Arc.
Where was it at? Was it? Is it was?
When it was on Sycamore, not Sycamore. When it was on Markland.
It was on Markland. Okay, Markland and Bell.
Yeah, that's
Not
when it was
Bell.
like
Harrison.
church. Yeah, that's when it was the largest church in Kokomo. But then my favorite priest, the priests don't stick around like a lot of other churches. They don't stick around at one place for too long. And the priest that I fell in love with was really good at what he did. He was really good with kids and everything.
Oh yeah, sure it was. I was
And
Catholic
oh,
priest.
shut up,
Kids.
shut up,
Groomer.
no, but as soon as like I got old enough to start appreciating, him, they ship him off because he'd been in Kokomo too long.
They do
And
that.
then,
Like Methodist Church does that. I think Baptist Church do that too, where they and it's like a job. Like they go to a church for so long, and then they move them to another church. It's really, I thought that was kind of odd because, I mean, the pastor of my church is still the pastor of that church.
yeah, and the problem with Catholic, I don't want to say it's a problem, but it was a problem for like me, especially when I was younger, was we'd get like a priest from the middle of Africa or an Indian priest, and it's like, I don't understand what they're saying. I don't mean that in a bad way. I bet they're really nice people, but it's like when you can't understand what they're saying, it's like you kind of lose interest.
Church is best when you're a teenager because you have a youth group and you do all kinds of really cool stuff and a lot of fun stuff. We had so much fun in youth group. It sucked selling candy bars but the car washes were fun. But we went camping, we went to Kings Island, we had parties. We had a good time. We had a really, really good time. Youth group was a lot of fun.
You want to know what I did for my youth group? I went to a monastery for a weekend.
Oh my god!
And with no TVs in our room.
Did you get your ass kicked if you talked because you weren't supposed to talk? So they beat you with a stick.
No. I was thinking
my dad
something similar to like Nacho Libre or something.
Like The Hangover 2. Did you see The Hangover 2? I think of talking in the monastery.
Yes. Or the Blues Brothers with the nun beating the shit.
Yeah, was it like that? My youth group was great. My cousin was the youth pastor. And which I still, if I'm in any kind of tight bind, I contact him still. To this day, I talk to my cousin. He's about 10 years older than me. But, when you're in youth group, that's who I can talk to him, no judgment. He's not your dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's who I turn to when I have serious questions or having problems and I need somebody to talk to. I still contact him to this day. So
that's cool.
Yeah. And he always answers the phone. So
I've been to church camp, but I barely remember it.
Oh God, every time we went freaking camping though, it was like we would go to like Brown County, and it like rained like crazy, and it was cold and rainy. It was just freaking miserable as all get out. And all we wanted to do was watch
I
the
don't think
baseball
you guys want me
playoffs.
to live stream this.
Huh?
Mike, you'll understand the reference. I don't want to live stream this
Oh yeah.
podcast. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah. But all we wanted to do was we found a guy at, like with a camper, and he had the playoffs on, the baseball playoffs. So we would sneak over and watch a little bit of the baseball playoffs with this guy.
Just a stranger?
Yeah, just a stranger.
Oh my god.
We'd be like, "What's the score?" Like we would come back and forth, because we didn't want to get busted for not helping out, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would kind of linger behind. He had the TV. He was outside. He was sitting. His TV was outside, so we didn't go like into his camper.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We had a TV outside the camper, and he was watching the game. So, because it's the '80s, so it was always on network television. It was never on ESPN or TNT or TBS. The playoffs were always on network TV, so you could bring out rabbit ears and get the baseball game. So we would do that. And we get rained on all night, and it was just so freaking cold. It was like 40 degrees. And you can't sleep in that kind of weather. And I mean, they were fun, but they were miserable at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So,
I'm back. I hit the end call button instead of the unmute button.
You dork. But yeah, youth group was great, so that's good. I'm happy for you. It's church family's good.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, one of the first things that like really made me start, feeling at home here in Richmond is joining a church, because like it kind of, helped you make some friends and everything. You got to know some people, and now it's like not that I don't mind coming back to Kokomo and seeing people, and I got all the wedding stuff I had to get done here in town, but it's like I miss, because I was like, I don't want to miss church. Like I like my pastor.
Yeah.
And I like my pastor because like he is like the same age as us. He's like 30, 32.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like he gets me. Like he gets us. Like he makes it so like someone my age understands it.
Yeah.
I'm between churches right now.
I suggest Crossroads in Kokomo. I really like Crossroads.
I'm in, what's the word? I'm not in limbo. I'm more in, what's that in between kind of?
It starts with P, right?
Purgatory?
Yeah. Not in purgatory, but it's like
okay.
Purgatory, but it's not in purgatory. I don't know. It's like a limbo thing. I'm kind of leery about. I'm leery about everybody. I question everybody, and I question everybody.
Well,
and they always say, "Oh, meet a girl at church." Yeah, that worked out great for me last time. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I know, right?
That one about wrecked me. So. I'm just leery about everything. I remember one time I went to my brother's house, and he was having he goes to this church, and he loves his church. God bless him. He loves his church. And it is a good church. The pastor is great, but you have to put up with a lot of other things that I don't agree with. And it's just me personal. It's my personal opinion. It's nothing against churches. I don't hate churches. I love churches. I think it's extremely important for people to be part of church. I think it's extremely important. And so he had people over at his house. So I was talking to this woman, and she's like, "Well, what church do you go to?" And I said, "Well, I'm kind of in between churches now." And this is not a lie. I'm not kidding. She goes, "Oh," and she walked away. And I was like, "Wow." I mean, I'm like, I've been in churches, and I know better than that. You don't turn your back on people because they say they don't go to a church right now. So I'm just kind of leery of things like that, but it's honestly not healthy, and it's probably worked against me more than it's worked for me. So we're getting there.
Well, one thing that I never really realized until I started trying to date more, this was before Kimberly, was the stigmatism towards Catholics. And like, I get asked, what religion am I? And I say, I'm Catholic. And then that would be an issue. And I never realized that was an issue for people. And then Kimberly, like one of the things Kimberly asked me first, like this isn't anything against her, but her mom and her grandma is Catholic, and her mom was Catholic, and her mom asked, "Well, how Catholic is he?" Because I didn't know
that's
this.
the truth too.
I didn't know this, but I'm not. If technically if I was to say Catholic, she would have to become Catholic for me to marry her.
I call it conveniently Catholic. That's what I call it, because it depends on how Catholic someone is.
Yeah, and that was one reason I kind of left, or I kind of went non-denominational, was just some of I don't why are we so religious in this episode? Oh well,
no, it's fine, it's good. We're this is healthy topic, healthy conversations,
and it's like I don't care, like the whole like topic of gay stuff like that. It was just some of their stances on things. It was like I just don't. I don't care if they're gay. I'm not going to go over there. I'm not going to go to these people and, preach against them or, something like that. Do I still, do a lot? Do I still, follow a lot of Catholic things? Of course I do.
Well, I mean, that's general religion is a lot of that. But you don't have to say 12 Hail Marys and pray to Mary to say, you don't need to go between. It's just between you and God.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't like how strict a lot of the, churches stuff was.
I ran into an issue with, like I said, conveniently Catholic. So my first wife, her family was Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And when they hated me, my in-laws hated me. And we had the wedding invitations made up. So we were in Connecticut on vacation for Christmas. So she had them mailed because of the mail date. She had them mailed to her parents' house so her mom could see them. And we had put a Bible verse on the invitation, and her mom had a fit because they're Catholic. You don't even go to church. What are you talking about? Now you're Catholic. Now you're against this because we put a Bible verse on. That's why I always say they were conveniently Catholic. Let's put it that way.
Why were they against the Bible verse?
Because it wasn't Catholic. Because just to be a pain in the butt, honestly. It was not her dad. It was her mom. Her dad actually was right about everything he said, so. But her mom was that's the way her mom was. She was one of those that finds, she's a Karen. Let's put it that way. She finds trouble. She finds things to pick at and just picks at the scab. But that's what I say by conveniently Catholic. But like the church I grew up in, we were Methodist. My parents met it. They went to Parr Church. They met at Parr Church. Actually, that's where my parents met, which is a Methodist church. So we went to Parr. There was another family that they were Catholic. We had some Baptists, and it was just a whole like melting pot of people. And it was always a non-denominational church. So, but we taught that the church I went to was taught like it was. You really had to pay attention. It wasn't they really delved in deep into what the Bible was, the teachings, and as a kid, like Mikey said, you don't get it. He's not talking to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But as you get older, and when I became a teenager, I started to listen more, and it started to click with me. But I'm not saying let's put it this way. So I don't want to say I'm like this great super Christian and all this stuff. I'm not, far from it. But I can't just go to any church because the stuff they talk about, I've heard before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I need fed differently than those churches. And I had found that, but then that church kind of disintegrated and went away. But there's churches out there like that. But there's a lot of, I call them.
Grace Clint, you messed it up.
There's a lot of surface churches out there. They teach basic Bible, which is great because that's how you get people in. But you don't want to just preach that type of lesson every single week. Sometimes you want to dive in a little deeper, and I've yet to find churches like that. And it's more of a history thing. It's how far do you want to go in? How far do you want to do your teachings? How far do you want to? When you present your sermon, are you only relying on the Bible, or what are you using to search? I mean, there's all kinds of literature.
I know you're kind of you talked about with me before. You're I don't want to say against, but you're not really a fan of the musical church where it's like 70% music and then a little sermon.
No, I don't like those at all. I'm very much it's worship time. There should be someone up there leading leading the worship service, leading music. You go up there and you lead the congregation in music. You don't put on a concert.
But
And
the way and
I feel like some churches put on a concert every week, and it's I don't like that. I've never liked that.
And I get where you're coming from. You say it's more you're getting people there just for the music, but I also think it's a good way to get people started. And if I do see it as a form of worship, you're worshiping. Who cares if you're praying with music or sitting there in silence, as long as it's
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that okay. So I went to this church and they needed a music leader, so I volunteered, and there were a few others that volunteered, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would sing songs that were popular songs, and this one girl sang the song her own way. And I'm like, you can't sing the song your way. You're leading people to sing. They know the song based off of what they hear on the radio, not your version of the song. I'm like, you can't do that. I said, you have to sing it the way it was written. This ain't a rock concert. You're leading people you're leading the congregation in singing. Nobody gives a crap about how you sing the song or you sing it differently. All you're gonna do is throw them off and confuse them. That takes the vibe out of the church, really. Yeah. So I am very old school with that. Hey, don't. I mean, I love loud music. I love to get I love to get my
Yeah,
praise and
those
worship
are
on. But
months.
if you're going to put on a rock concert, do that on Sunday night. Have a take donations for mission trip or for a van for the youth group, or you know what I mean. Do it for that. Don't do it on a Sunday morning. That's all I'm asking. That's my only issue. But that's not if that's my only issue, that's really not that much. But where did Kris go?
He probably lost connection. It sounded like he was going to his car.
Well, he's going to Ohio. There can't be that much connection. Have you been on Eastern Indiana?
He probably just left his Wi-Fi. That's what.
Well, as I said, it's Eastern Indiana and Western Ohio. There's like nothing out there. But so does your church? Does it have do they turn down the lights and have big light show and concert for worship service, or?
Like it was probably the first 10 to 15 minutes. They do like 3 songs,
Mm-hmm.
and then and then we do like usually like pray, communion, and then the pastor will come out.
Okay, that's cool. That's a good. That's the way it should be, in my opinion. You just do 2 or 3 songs.
I mean, people are still like trickling in and finding seats.
Do they do Sunday school after the music? Like, do the kids leave and go to Sunday school class, or do they?
No, they have a whole area of the church where parents check in their child, and it's at least a quarter till. Like the doors open quarter till 9 or whatnot, or quarter till the start. So, and they have all these classes for all the age groups and stuff. So
right.
So,
our Sunday school classes were based off of like my buddies. My buddy Jimmy, my buddy Eric. Because we were the same age. We were always in the same Sunday school class. It's because they based it off of age or grade or yeah. That's how they used to do Sunday school classes. That's cool.
Yeah, I like it.
That's awesome. I don't want to talk about the draft with Kris not in here.
Well, you guys talked about it last week because I listened to the podcast, but I did watch Mario.
You did? Okay, tell us about it. So, what did you think? Because I've not seen Mario yet.
Oh, that you haven't seen it? I liked it. Except we watched the last showing. Was it on a Friday? After I got done working and stuff, so I did fall asleep a little bit. So
I fall asleep everywhere though. So.
But yeah, I did catch a lot of it. Of course, I saw the infamous Peaches song. That was good. There was a lot of people singing it.
Is that thing with that Jack Black Peaches
Jack Black, yeah. It's only like an hour, minute and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I walked out to my car and it dropped the connection.
That's what I said.
Now you sound like you're talking through a paper towel tube, though.
Oh, I'm on my car's Bluetooth. I'm sorry. Give me a second.
Oh my god!
But
what's wrong with this guy?
I think the best part. I mean, I think I missed like a pretty like significant like plot hole.
Are you
Because
kidding?
like, yeah, like, I don't even remember. Yeah. Anyway, so like I couldn't even tell you. Like I had to try to like piece together like I was like, okay, okay, how did it get to this point? So, but I did catch the end, which I saw this on a TikTok where when Mario and Luigi, uh, um, they got the star power and it looked like when All Might and Midoriya did the double what was it? Double
Yeah.
Oklahoma punch or something, whatever it is.
Yep.
That was awesome. Like it was like almost like scene for scene. That was so cool.
It really did. That was such a cool scene.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. Did you like it, Mikey?
I did from what I caught of it. I was telling Kris like it was the last showing on a Friday at 9:00. So I kind of fell asleep some of it. Yeah.
So
Just gives me a reason to watch it again.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but that movie leaked on Twitter. Like someone uploaded the entire movie on Twitter.
Oh,
and I think they said it before it was taken.
We can barely hear you, dude.
Oh, how's this?
That's better.
The movie leaked onto Twitter, and over 3 million people watched it before it was taken down.
dang.
I'll have to see if I can find it on my app.
I think the funny thing is I like the whole day like I was trying to convince Sierra to go and she's like, no, I don't want to see it. I don't know. And then she's like, okay, I'll go because I've done a lot of stuff that I usually don't enjoy or wouldn't like do without her. So
Right.
But at the end she said she really liked it. So
yeah, that's always a good thing.
It was I don't want to say it was the other way around for us, but I wanted to see the movie, but I didn't. I could wait for it, and Kimberly really wanted to see it, so I was like, we'll go see it. It's fine.
yeah.
So we went. She got home from school, and I clocked out, and as soon as I hit sign out, we were in the car going to the movie theater.
I haven't seen it yet.
You should go see it. Like spend the $5, go see a matinee, and have a good time.
I know. I need to.
Stop being a hermit and cut your hair and go outside.
I'm not cutting my hair. I have been outside. I went outside Saturday.
I know. We went and got food.
yeah, that's the only reason. No, I went to Lowe's too, and to the Comb Palace and got a vanilla Coke Zero.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a 4:30 movie tomorrow.
Go to it. What do you say, Mikey? It's almost an hour and like 32 minutes.
Yeah,
long.
It's an hour. It's almost like an hour long.
Hour and 32 minutes. Yeah. There's a lot I want to see. Because I want to see that Evil Dead movie. I want to see Renfield. Plus that I do want to see Air, but I
want to see that Tetris movie.
The what? Yeah, The Exorcist. Yeah, I want to see that too.
Exorcist Tetris, the movie about.
Oh, there's a new Exorcist movie coming out in October.
Oh yeah, I know that. I want to see the Pope's Exorcist.
Yeah, I want to see that too.
What's with all the Exorcist movies coming out again?
October 10th, I think. I know it's October for the Exorcist movie. I think it's October 10th. I don't know. Next Exorcist movie, October 13th. The Exorcist Believer is set for October 13th.
Is like the Amityville Horror 4, the return when they went to like California, the one we watched with the riff tracks.
Oh, the riff tracks that had nothing to do with Amityville whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't know if hopefully this isn't like this. That's the way Exorcist 3 was. It was just the Gemini killer or whatever it was, and although they say that the guy that killed those kids in Gainesville, the Gainesville Ripper, was possessed by a devil from watching that movie. So, which goes back to the whole porno mag demon possession haunted church movie.
Zach's mom is like super like, she is the super religious lady that it's that church, and you know we all can think of her.
Is she Sheldon's mom?
She's worse.
She's worse than Sheldon's mom?
Zach could not watch anything except for the Disney Channel. He couldn't play Pokemon because Pokemon was made by the devil. He couldn't watch a few like Scooby-Doo because it was made by the devil.
See,
like,
I had my cousin wouldn't let her kids watch Scooby-Doo Evil either, and I'm like, that teaches you that even people you know are bad guys. That's exactly what it's a lesson.
It teaches you that, you know, you can solve like everything. You can be solved if you put some time and thought into it too.
The only things we couldn't watch when I was a kid. So my restrictions were, of course, rated R movies.
Yeah.
Until we got to be teenagers, and then, Schwarzenegger was popular, and we got to see all those kind of movies. Rambo. Dad let us watch those. But we couldn't watch rated R movies. We couldn't watch Different Strokes because he was a smart mouth kid, and they didn't want him. You know what I mean? And I've got a side story about that. So, he was a smart mouth kid. Here's the thing. No, it's funny because I remember when I was on vacation with Gina and the kids one time, and Wade, he was like 10 years old, I think. And we were waiting on her to get ready. We were watching a Different Strokes episode, and he looks at me, he's like, that kid's got a smart mouth. How's he get away with that? Because, Gina would have smacked him upside the head, too. So that proves that point. Mom and Dad were right. We couldn't watch Three's Company either because John Ritter's character pretended to be gay so he could live with two women.
Hey, now that's a good move right there.
Right. That was the only way he could do that. So we couldn't watch that either. So, I mean, we could pretty much watch what was on. We watched Miami Vice. And like I said, as we got older, we couldn't watch Revenge of the Nerds or anything like that. And we could only watch horror movies because they did have gratuitous nudity in them back then. But Halloween, Friday the 13th, when they started showing up on network TV, we could start watching them then. And then once we were teenagers, we could, we pretty much on our own.
If this tells you how lax my parents were, at least my dad let me watch South Park when it first came out. What year did South Park start? And
97.
How old was I in 97?
5.
Yeah. And
there's no way I would let my kid watch South Park.
Well, let's put it this way. He would watch the episode first, and then if it was okay, he would let me watch it. Like the first few episodes really aren't that bad.
No.
They start getting, they start pushing the buttons when they can.
That's hilarious.
But, like, you got to admit, I grew up with a sense of humor, so.
Yes, this is true. But, I mean, my parents were really cool, We weren't stuck at home. Like, we went to the movies with our friends, and they dropped us off at the mall. And, I mean, that we were allowed to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Would not drop us off at the mall. They were like, there's too much trouble.
Oh, see, yeah, that was your generation. You're the ones that caused all the trouble. We didn't. We just walked around the mall. And a lot of times we would go to the movie theater. We would go to the movie and walk around the mall.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, nowadays you need on Friday nights and Saturday nights after 5 o'clock, you need a chaperone if you're under 18. I just read that somewhere. Malls are doing that.
Good. I'm tired of a bunch of kids causing trouble.
You meddling kids. See, you're turning into an old man, Kris.
Shit. On our Disney cruise, we're signing up for adult only stuff. Like there's a excursion to go do some.
Was it like Minnie Mouse does a strip show or something? Or
no, he does a drag show.
It's like a burlesque show with
yeah.
Minnie and Daisy Duck.
No, but it's like panning for gold.
Dress it up
and
as
it was
Pluto. Let's go.
there was like a panning for gold for adults only.
If
And we were like, let's do
Jasmine's
that.
doing that, I'm in there like swimwear. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry, I'm not our pedophile president. I don't want to be with a bunch of kids.
Oh man.
And there goes half of our 20 there goes 10 of our words.
All right, well let me get to my Notbuster real quick before we talk about the draft.
Okay.
So I watched this Notbuster today. It is
I'm ready to Google it.
it is the hold on, let me pull it up. It is the 1978 Jack White's classic Mardi Gras Massacre. It's about a guy in New Orleans that is murdering hookers.
Oh.
And honestly, it was made in 1978, but according to IMDb, because of the violence and nudity in it, it was not released until like 1983. Because they were showing full frontal. And like I said, this was filmed in 78. So that's kind of before the full frontal thing was going on, as far as I know.
I like the movie poster.
Yeah, but you know what? The movie poster has nothing whatsoever to do with the movie whatsoever.
Well, it says name Nancy Dancer. Gives her measurements.
Yes, with her measurements.
Born in Gary, Indiana.
That's right.
Hey, we can get her on the show.
We can't. She died on February 13th.
Only 20 years old.
Let's go get a Ouija board.
So anyway, so what it is so this guy is in a 3-piece suit, right? And he's looking around for the most evil hooker out there, right?
Oh my gosh.
So he pays this hooker who's been told these hookers point out this, you want her. So we find out, so he pays her $200, which I'm guessing in 1978 is a lot of money for a hooker. So he takes her back to his quote unquote apartment. This is a big ass apartment, right? So he has her strip down and lay on this like this padded table, kind of like maybe like a massage table or something, right? So he disappears, and then he like rips open the curtain, and like he's dressed like some Spartacus character with a mask on. And I can't help but laugh. At that point, you're dying laughing because it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. So he starts rubbing her with oil. So while he's rubbing her with oil, he starts to tie her up, right? So he's got this tiki idol thing on the wall, and the tiki idol looks like if you combined the Pillsbury Doughboy with the Pringles guy. That's what the tiki idol looked like. So he ties her up, and he pulls out this great big knife or sword or whatever, and he stabs her hand. And he says he stabs her hand because that's the hand that took her the money. Then he cuts her foot because that leads to her misdeeds. Then what's he do? It turns into it's the most obvious rubber shell thing I've ever seen. Like the boobs are like brown, like faded, like white and brown, because it's like horrible. It's like a horrible rubber naked girl, right? So he rips her. He cuts her open, like under her rib cage, and pulls her heart out. Now I don't know how he never like cuts through the rib cage. You know what I mean? He goes straight to the heart. I don't know. The chest plate is apparently hookers don't have chest plates because he's able to rip their hearts out. He rips a heart out and he takes it over by the Pillsbury Doughboy Pringles guy idol and stabs it. Then he dumps the body on the railroad track. So that's how he essentially does this with 3 different women. So they have 3 murders on hand, right? So while the cops are asking questions about the first murder, he asks this hooker questions. So what's he do? He takes the hooker out to eat. And I ain't talking like, he ain't grabbing her like a hamburger or a coney dog or nothing. Like, he's taking her to this nice, they're having wine and go to this nice restaurant. And then he goes home with her and then he bangs the hooker. And then they like start dating. The hooker and the cop start dating. Meanwhile, this guy's cutting women open and ripping their hearts out, right? And before he picks up the second victim, he ends up at this bar, right, where this woman is dancing in a bikini. But the woman he picks up is sitting at a table with no top on. She's like topless. Which I haven't. Why is the dancer not naked, but the woman at the table naked? I would love to hear the direct. Like, it's like beyond creepiness of. I can imagine what the director said to these poor women that are trying to break into Hollywood. And so he takes that woman home. The killer does. The killer's name is John, and he always wears a 3-piece suit every time. So he offers her wine. She takes it. And then he's like, "Would you like wine?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she says, "Well, what are you waiting for? You already spent your money." And he says, "Let's not waste any time." He drags her into this. He's got the tiniest of tiny apartments. It looks like a studio apartment. But then he takes her. The sacrifice room is this big ass room with curtains and lighting and candles and stuff. So he does the same to her. He rubs the oil all over her testicles and ties her up and cuts her hand and her foot and cuts her heart out. But this time, the nipples on the rubber suit are white. Like, it's that obvious. They're like at least paint them pink or red or something, you know? But no, they're white as white can be. Like, they forgot to paint in anything on this prosthetic chesticle area. When he rips the heart out of that lady had the heart of like a horse because that was the biggest ass heart I've ever seen in my life. The cop dates the hooker.
The butcher was probably out of pig heart, so they're like,
yeah, that's what I figure, right? Now this was the cop he complains to other cops about. I'm not dating her. Meanwhile, it's like a visitors bureau video of them walking through New Orleans and trying different restaurants. So they're trying to find out about ritual killings in New Orleans, which honestly, with the voodoo and the history of New Orleans, I could understand that might be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't find anything on ritual killings. They've talked to priests. This was my favorite line.
Just go to the library.
Okay, so no, the cop talks to LSU, then he talks to Tulane. He even called MIT about sacrificial killing. What would MIT know about sacrificial killing?
The science behind it.
Isn't that the Institute of Technology? Isn't it,
Yeah.
right? What's the M stand for?
Massachusetts.
Okay, Massachusetts is, and like, what would they know about sacrificial killings in New Orleans? Do you know? Does anybody know? I mean, if I'm going to sacrificial killings, MIT is the last college that I'm going to ask.
This movie just ruined my immersion.
He picks up a dancer, right? And the guy she's with picks up. They tried to rob him in an alley, and he like kills the guy that tries to rob him. Just leaves him on the street and walks away. There's no story whatsoever about this guy left in the alley to die. None. He gets another woman. The third woman orders her Chinese. That's just really nice. Feeds her, kills her. Then his hooker girlfriend finds out that he took money from the dead hooker, the first dead hooker, and she gets really mad at him and says that he's just a basic cop and he's a thief. And he says, "Yeah, you're nothing but a whore." And then he slaps her around a couple times. So during this time, like there is no like beat. Like this is after the third murder, they finally decide to walk the streets of New Orleans and ask questions and investigate it because apparently the first one's not worthy of investigation. At this point, while they're going door to door asking about the murders and if they know anything, this guy has got 3 women in his apartment. And one of the women he's going to sacrifice because it's Mardi Gras, so he has to sacrifice 3 women that night. One of the 3 women is his hooker girl, is the cop's hooker girlfriend.
The plot thickens.
Yes, so he gives them wine and he says, "I must leave for a moment to prepare." He comes back and they're all passed out. Finally, after they've done some investigating, they've got a drawing of the ring that the guy wears. Not a drawing of the guy, not a suspect drawing, but of the ring that he wears. So finally, they stumbled into this Chinese restaurant where the delivery guy remembered the ring, right? He remembered the ring. He remembered the address because the guy tipped him $10. So he's like, "What's the address?" It's like 1602 Madison Street. He goes, "What apartment number?" Like he knows that's an apartment on Madison Street, right? So at this point, wouldn't you think that they would go to the apartment on Madison Street? Because they got their biggest lead in the case, right? Guy's killed 3 people. He could strike again. Is that where they go? No, that's not where they go. They end up at the bar where the guy, John, picked up the first hooker that he murdered. I don't know why they go to the bar. They don't explain why they go to the bar and not to the guy's house apartment. If you had the address, isn't that the first place that you would go? I mean, I'm not a cop, but basic cop theory tells me I should go to the address.
See, that's where you're wrong, Chris.
Oh.
You got that big brain of yours.
But so they go to the address, but they can't get the door open. So they call the fire department. So the fire department walks into, like, there's no urgency to the fire department or to get into this apartment whatsoever. And they knock on the door a few times with the axe and they go, "There you go." And they kind of saunter off. So they get in there and the guy's got all the women tied up to the wall. Topless, of course. So while the guy gets away, the cop with the hooker girlfriend unties his hooker girlfriend and gives her a hug and a kiss and apologizes. While the bad guy just gets away, he grabs his knife. There's no urgency to anything. He grabs the knife, climbs out a window and walks down the street where a cop is chasing him. Does he run at this point? No, he's walking too. So they lose him at this point. They're like, "We lost him." He radios in and loses him. Every cop in this movie has like a Boston/New York accent. I didn't know there was that many people in New Orleans with a Boston accent. Somehow they get that he got away, but then they somehow know that he drives a yellow station wagon. This yellow station wagon has never appeared once in the movie at all. Ever. And all of a sudden he's in a yellow station wagon. They chase him to the wharf and they trap him at the docks by the wharf and in the warehouse. And they go chasing after him into this warehouse. And what's he do? He's in a bulldozer parked outside the warehouse, climbs out the bulldozer. Sorry, this is the spoiler, guys. I hate to end the movie this way, or the review, but it's spoiler alert. What does he do? He steals a cop car, right? Does he drive away? Chris, do you think he drives away?
Yes.
No, he does not drive away. He steals a cop car and he drives it right into the water, right off the dock. And the car sinks. So they called they call the water rescue people, and they said, "We've located the car, but there's nobody in it." So they pull the car out from the water, and the cops are looking inside the car, and all they find is that guy's gone, and the only thing that's left is the mask that he wore with his Spartacus outfit when he would sacrifice these women to the Pringles guy, Pillsbury Doughboy Tiki idol. And that's the movie. That's the end. The cut scenes, like, get cut from one scene to another really bad. The acting's horrible. I love watching horrible, cheesy movies. I don't know if I could watch this a second time, unless maybe I had a couple beers and was watching it with friends to laugh at. But as just a horrible movie to watch, it's that horrible. I don't recommend it. Of bad movies, this is one of the worst ones I've ever seen. It's worse than Avatar, and you know how much I hate Avatar.
Ugh. On IMDb, there's like a little 30-second trailer, and it shows the guy in the mask, and it showed the car going off. I was like, "What the heck? Why is the police car going off?" I was like, I was like, "What the heck's going on?" And there's some girl screaming and she was naked. I don't know.
Well, the thing, and then like they shot during Mardi Gras, and they essentially just shot like the cops walking through. The cops were just walking through the crowd during Mardi Gras, and like people were in the movie. And I think they told people that they were in a movie because like these kids are acting up and stuff. Yeah, you're never gonna see this movie till you're like 35 years old, because it just got re-released, I guess, this year. I don't know. There's some other ones on this list that I might want to watch. Delirium's one of them. This movie's on Tubi. If y'all want to check it out.
I think I'll pass on this one.
But this one's been on my list for a while. So
how long is your list?
It's not very long. I only have 3 or 4 movies on it. So, but that one's been on there the longest. So I can erase that one from my list of horrible movies that I wanted to watch. But there you go. There it is. Mardi Gras Massacre. And the poster has nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. I was expecting like Mardi Gras and like people like dying, and has nothing to do with any of that stuff. So there you go. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now on to the draft.
Wait. Hi. Okay.
Huh?
Hi.
Hi.
She wanted to say hi. She waited the whole time.
Hi.
Hi.
They said hi.
What?
Okay. So the draft.
That's how you feel about the draft, huh? Okay.
Uh-huh. So from what I've gathered, no one was surprised with the number 1 pick. But
No.
I was definitely surprised with 2 and 3. For two, I can see. Like I had a feeling they were going to take Stroud, but there was a lot of rumors that they weren't, for some reason, that they were going to take Anderson.
Who?
Right? No, they were going to take. Was it Will Anderson? Yeah, that's the name. Right?
The guy that the Raiders picked?
No, Texans. The 3rd pick.
The 3rd pick.
Yeah, Will Anderson Jr.
Will Anderson.
Yeah, Will Anderson. Yeah.
A lot of people say they were going to take him at 2 instead of the QB. But there was only one person that predicted them to trade for 3. Gotta get down.
Let me write that down.
Yes, you gotta get down. Oh, you're okay. So yeah, I think a lot of people were surprised they were gonna pick. They picked 2 and 3.
Yeah, they traded up, didn't they, with Arizona?
Crazy.
Right, Arizona. Yeah, well, Arizona. They were 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Texans are going to be dangerous if this draft turns out to be good for them. But we all know Ohio State quarterbacks never play well in the league, so I think we're that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the big pick at 4.
Dude, I honestly, I think they'd have been better off picking Will Levis.
I don't think so.
I'm not happy with either of them. Like the only quarterback I was excited for would have been Bryce Young.
Well, you knew he was going first, though.
Yeah, there's no way we're going to get him. But everything I've heard about this kid is he has unbelievable talent. Well, how many people have I heard have unbelievable talent and they're out of the league in 2 years?
Well,
I'm
honestly nervous about this pick. I really am.
I don't think the talent portion is kind of like what they're saying. He's super athletic, which is, of course everyone knows.
Athleticism.
But I mean, he can everything he lacks from what I've heard, like what the things that he does lack, or that he needs that he can easily learn.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, but see, I was saying. So, how can he read a defense? Can he call an audible? Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of experience that goes into that. That's my big concern. I have a feeling he's going to run for his life, and then another thing they compared him to. Somebody compared him to. They haven't seen talent like this since RG3, and we all know what happened to RG3.
One good hit, and there goes your ACL, and you're out.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and that's happened to Carson Wentz, too. I mean, Carson Wentz had a great season going on until he blew out his knee. Foles won that Super Bowl for him, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wentz ain't been the same since. He keeps getting hurt. I'm just nervous. I mean, I just think that the league is I think they see this as it's working with Jalen Hurts, it's working with Lamar Jackson, and I mean, I'm surprised that Mahomes hasn't gotten as seriously injured as he could have gotten so far with the way he runs. And I'm just nervous that this guy is another one of those. And I don't know if that's the right direction. I mean, I guess that's the way the NFL is going to go right now, but I'm just nervous about it.
I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong, but I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to sit for most of this year. He'll play the last,
when they suck.
Thursday's going to be like, brother, you're playing, and he'll be put in, and then he'll play for like 4 or 5 games this year, play next season, and he'll be out. That's how I feel it's going to happen.
I would love to see him sit behind Minshew for a year. I really would.
Yeah.
It worked for Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he just seems, I mean, like I told you guys, I said, look up Todd Marinovich, and he was this. So Todd Marinovich, let me give you the breakdown on Todd Marinovich. Todd Marinovich was drafted by the Raiders, right? I think he went to USC. I think it was USC as a sophomore. So like his dad raised him. It was like Tom Brady. Like he wasn't allowed. Like the guy never had a Twinkie. All he did as a kid was train. From the time he was a little boy, he could not have sweets. He had to eat healthy. He had to train. Which I'm not saying this guy did this, but he came out of college as a sophomore. This huge sophomore prospect, and he was out of the league in like 2 or 3 years. That's just my big fear. And I remember Khalil Mack talking about Khalil Mack stayed in all 4 years, and then he was drafted after his senior year. And he talked about how important those junior and senior years were because he got to develop more as a player. He got bigger as a player. You know what I mean? It's just he got older, and he got to develop more. And he used Jadeveon Clowney as a perfect example. As if Clowney would have waited another 2 years and got proper development in college football, he'd have been better prepared to go to the pros, and he would have been a better player. So that's just based off of history. That's why I have a big fear for him. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he proves me wrong. But damn it, I hope that Tennessee is not good with Will Levis. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because if Levis
he's going to get compared against 2 quarterbacks and 2 rookies in our division, Stroud and Levis.
Yeah, but if Levis lights up in Tennessee, it's going to be.
Well, he's going to sit behind Tannehill for another year, at least.
Well, Tannehill will probably get.
You're right. You're right. Tannehill probably will get hurt, but like, what do you guys think about the rest of the Colts draft? I'm a big proponent of the Colts have no weapons, and we didn't draft any weapon. We didn't draft anybody I'm kind of blown away by. We got Josh in the third round.
Yeah, from North Carolina or whatever.
Yeah, but dude, you can't. Those are the guys that work, not the first round. How many first round guys are busts?
Most.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. I can't really say much because I didn't pay attention to. I don't know who most of these people are. Like, I didn't pay attention to Kansas State or North Carolina or
Josh
South.
Downs. That's a good pick, though. They traded it up for that pick.
Yeah.
So they picked up a tight end. Well, out of Miami.
They got a running back too, Evan Hall from Northwestern.
Right. So I did see, the Raiders drafted a defensive lineman, which that's good.
Your defense. You guys needed to draft defense.
They did, but they still needed a quarterback. I was kind of hoping that Levis would be around in the second round.
Did they not even get a quarterback in like a later round? Like
they did. They got a.
They got Jimmy Garoppolo.
From Purdue.
Come on.
Hang on. I'm trying to pull these up. Hold on.
You don't need a quarterback when you got Jimmy G.
For half the year, we need a quarterback for the other half. I was hoping that Levis. I honestly was hoping Levis was going to be around. Yeah, they picked Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. He's I guess he's good. I don't know. Michael Mayer. They picked up a tight end. That's a good pick. The guy from Notre Dame.
Yeah, he is. He's good.
That's probably their best pick of the draft. He's very much a Jason Witten type of player.
Mm-hmm.
Then they picked up this. Who's the guy like this? They picked up this humongous monster of a guy. He's like 6'7". Is that him? Nesta Jade Silvera. They picked up somebody huge. I can't remember who it is. Yeah, but they did pick up Aiden O'Connell from Purdue. So to me, he's the kind of player that if he sits on the bench a few years, you coach him right, he could be a decent player. But
he might be a backup.
Huh?
He'll be a good backup.
I think he'll be a good backup, but I mean, you never know. I mean,
and with Jimmy,
I don't know how good he was at Purdue. So
half the year, so
I don't. I think their best pick was Michael Mayer, the tight end. But I know they picked up this monster of a defensive lineman. But I can't remember which one it is. But he's like 6'7".
Jeez. Talk about a dude.
Yeah, he's humongous. I was trying to find it. It's not Tyree Wilson. It's the other guy. I can't find it. Hold on. Maybe I found it. Hold on. Let's see here.
You'll think of it as soon as we turn off the podcast.
Right. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Byron Young, that's not him. He's 6'3". These guys are big, though. 6'3", 294. How big's the guy from that? Tyree Wilson's a big guy, too. Hold on. Is it the guy from Cincinnati? No, they did pick up a wide receiver. Picked up a corner. I think they picked up a safety, too. Yeah, they picked up a safety. They picked up a linebacker from Florida, which they probably needed a linebacker.
Was there any, was the only big, drama of the draft that Levis dropping?
Well, yeah, but if you look at it, after the Colts draft 4 for quarterback, who needs a quarterback? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
he just kind of fell by default. I don't think it was his stock is bad, other than his smoking hot girlfriend.
Dude, did you see the look she was given? Like, she got rid of him as soon as he got to the second pick.
Because he didn't go number one?
Yeah, he didn't go in the first 5, so she's done. She dumped
Do you
him.
know technically he did go number one because Miami didn't have a pick. They had to forfeit their pick, so there were only 31 picks. He was he was the 32nd pick in the draft. But it was the first pick of the second round. But still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have liked to have seen the Raiders get him. I was kind of hoping they would pick him, but they went defense first. But I will just see.
You got to build up that defense. The defense takes longer to build.
Yeah, but dude, get a couple veterans. You know what I mean?
Well, I guarantee you, Darius Leonard. I'm not going to call him Shaq because I never knew him as Shaq, so I'm going to call him Darius Leonard. I guarantee you, he is done with the Colts once his contract's up.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. He's too injury prone. I would rather see them sign free agents on the defensive line than draft picks. Because either way, it's a waste of money either way. But looking back, I go back to the Raiders when they had that scary defense everybody was afraid of back in the 80s. And you can look at Lyle Alzado he used to play for the Broncos. You had Ted Hendricks. He played for the Raiders. He went to Baltimore, came back. And then you had John Matuzak. John Matuzak was a throwaway player. Nobody liked him. He couldn't get along anywhere. And then he becomes a menacing defensive player. So, it was the same way when they went to the Super Bowl and got blown out by the Buccaneers because they're stupid. But I want to talk about that. When they had Bill Romanowski, came from another team. Do you see what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Have really, really great veterans on the line. They had that line. The Raiders had that line. Then they brought in Howie Long. That was a good move. Howie can learn from the best, and he was one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. Howie Long was, but just to keep drafting, it don't always work. I'd rather. Besides, it's the lower round defensive people I think that show out more than first round draft picks.
Except for Aaron Darnold. Well, when I think about it, a lot of other than Aaron Darnold, a lot of the superstars that I know of were later round picks.
Right.
There's always Darnold or Lewis or people like them. But then you get I can only really think of Colts players. Leonard was a second round pick, and then I can't think of his name. Bob Sanders was a fifth rounder?
Yeah.
And then who was the linebacker, that really good linebacker for the Colts during those days? I can't think of his name, but he was a seventh rounder.
I don't take too much into first round picks. I mean, the Raiders have had how many first round picks of people, and a lot of their first round picks don't even play for them anymore. Max Crosby, he's about the only one.
Carr's a first rounder.
Exactly. And he can go and light up New Orleans.
Well, the one thing I keep thinking about is the first round has all the good players, but it's kind of like the NBA. You really want to be in the top 5. That's where your players are going to come from for the most part.
I don't know. Mitch Trubisky was a first round pick.
I still think
he went 2 or 3.
Yeah, the Chicago traded up for him.
Yeah, and you know who they gave up? You know who they passed over?
My homeboy.
And Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but I think Mitch Trubisky got ruined in their system. I don't think their coach knew what to do with him, and by the time he got out of their system, it was too late.
Well, I think that's a lot of the problem in the NFL is these guys get drafted And it's not that they forget how to play football. Like, they were great in college, but there's something that doesn't translate from college to pro. And I think a lot of it has to do with the system. Are they able to adjust in the system?
Yeah, and a lot of coaches don't want to change their system either.
No. And that's what I said about Joe. And that was the thing with John Matuszak, was wherever he was, he didn't fit into the system. Once he got into Oakland / Los Angeles, he fit into that system. It worked for him. So, and I mean, Plunkett was the same way. He was a journeyman quarterback. He played for the Patriots. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jim Plunkett won the Heisman Trophy. Got picked by the New England Patriots, and they beat the hell out of him because they didn't have no offensive line. He went to San Francisco, got beat up there. He signed with the Raiders as a free agent, sat on the bench for a year, and then he got forced to go in. He had a terrible first game, but after that, the system worked for him, where the system didn't work for him anywhere else. It took him 10 years to find a system that worked for him.
Jeez.
So, essentially it took about maybe 8 years, but still, that's a long time as a quarterback to start shining. He didn't start playing really good till he was almost 30, till he was probably 30 years old.
Yeah.
So you wonder how many other players suffer from that issue, that they could have been good in the right system. That's why I'm curious that's why I'm curious to see how Carr will do in New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, Carr did really good when the system worked for him.
Exactly. So I'm really curious to see how he will do. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of curious to see how what's his name will do in Denver with Sean Payton's system.
Let Russ cook.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Russell Wilson.
I think Peyton knows how to work with players and their abilities.
Right.
And that's one thing you got to do. You got to let, veterans know what they're good at. And you got to let, and I hate to say it, but you got to let Russ cook. And then I think Russ will be good. But I also think Russ, when he did good, he always had a good running game and he always had a good defense.
He had a very good defense.
Rely on.
Except, don't throw down the middle in the Super Bowl, to the running back. When you should just let the running back run.
He shouldn't have thrown that ball, but I don't blame the coach.
Dude, that was the worst call in the history. I wouldn't even make that call in Madden.
No, you have the most dominant running back in the league at that point.
If I'm playing Madden and I'm playing that game, I'm handing it off all day long.
Phone book update failed.
All right. Kimberly's here. I'm gonna dip, okay, guys?
Okay.
The podcast is almost done anyways.
But you're fine. Just
okay.
Go
Bye,
do your
everybody.
womanly duties. I mean,
just email it to me when you
I know.
You guys are done.
I know the drill.
Bye. Have fun.
Bye. All right. Mike, you got any more opinions on the draft? Are you on mute? Am I by myself? I am by myself. Because I can't hear Mikey. But he's unmuted. Welcome to another edition of Hoosier Nerds Podcast with your host, Kris. I'm by myself, so I'm going to talk about everything Indianapolis 500. It is the month of May. We're 27 days away from the Indy 500. Why you sound like a monster? Holy shit. What happened? Well, Mikey's having technical.
Is that any better?
There you are. Oh my God. He was like.
Okay, hold on. I thought I was working. I guess there's one more thing on the draft I thought about was the Cowboys picking up that the assistant coach's son or something.
Yeah. They had him call in and tell him he was drafted. That was kind of a neat story.
Yeah. But I think that's it. That's all I can
We're
think of.
only 3 months away from football, right?
Oh, did you see the clip of Aaron Rodgers throwing in a Jets? Would be like practice uniform.
No, I didn't.
He threw a ball. I don't know why. I was like, why would they have people together?
Promotion. I wonder how good the Jets are going to be with him as quarterback.
No.
What?
I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be sneaky good. Not sneaky good. I just think they're going to surprise people and win some games this year.
Yeah. The schedule comes out like next week, I think.
Yeah, next Thursday, I
It's
believe.
the 11th.
Or Tuesday? Wednesday.
I heard
the 11th?
Yeah, I heard
It's
the 11th.
11th. It's what's Wednesday? No, that's Tuesday.
It's Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
Yeah.
It is Thursday. I'm off that. This week is the only week in the month of May where I work a full week.
Oh yeah.
Because I'll be
Mother's
doing
Day's weekend next weekend, right?
what?
Mother's Day weekend's next week.
I think so. Yes. Not this coming.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's Grand Prix weekend. I'm off.
I got that weekend off.
I'm off Wednesday. I'm off Saturday, Friday, so I can go to the track next weekend.
Uh-huh.
The weekend after that, I'm off Thursday and Friday to go to the track. And I'll go to the track Saturday and Sunday for qualifying. Then the week after that, I'm off for Carb Day.
Yeah.
Brian Adams is playing Carb Day. I'm pretty excited about that one. And then the week after that,
this is Summer '69. Let's go.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm pretty excited about that one. And then the week after that, I'm off Memorial Day. So I don't go back. I don't have a full week of work again until June.
That's nice.
Yeah. So this week and then a full week, a full month of days off, and then after it's all said and done, I still got like 38 hours of personal time left over after I take those 4 days off.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. So, but I guess we'll wrap it up here. You got any shower thoughts?
Oh, I swear I saw I should have wrote some down. Oh my god. What was I think I just saw one today, but I don't remember it.
All right.
Oh,
Mike doesn't have a shower thought, but he saw one.
I dropped the ball. That was a shower thought just for me, no one else.
God, I'm so disappointed. All right. Well, we don't have a shower
anything
thought.
else to say, Graceland?
Anything?
Anything to say?
Shower thought?
Say anything that's on your mind.
That's nothing, huh? She's drawing a blank. But you can find us on various platforms of podcasts. What is it? iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, and Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can find us on YouTube as well. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter and the Facebook. And that's all I've got. And it is the month of May. It's racing season, so it's going to be May.
Oh, God.
And then you'll never have to wonder who those nerdy guys are, because that's up.
Say,
all
who's
right?
your nerds? Say it. Okay, all right. Sign off.
All right. And we're out.
Okay.
Rhythm.